and welcome back to Goldbridge Saves Football. What a show we've got. It's Manchester United against Liverpool. The title race rolls on. We've got so much to get into. We've got a special guest. Robbie, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm good.
It's been so long since we've done any content.
Long time.
I should have waited a little bit longer than bringing a gloating Arsenal fan on for this title race. But Will's got something he wants to say to you anyway, straight away. Bring the mood down.
Well, no, I was just going to say it's great to see you two in a room. It's like CM Punk, Triple H. No one thought they'd ever see them. That hell has frozen over. You're back together.
WrestleMania weekend.
And nice to see someone talking sense as well. The Don's in the room. It's great to have you here, Robbie.
No, it's good to be here, man. And we haven't done content for a long time. But yeah, it's good to...
You did have a scrap in the car park before we started. Just a little settler, didn't you?
That'll be coming out later.
Yeah, that's a little settler.
No, listen, it's all good, man. Like, you know what I mean? We've had little disagreements in the past, but we're big men, man. You know what I mean? And
we're experienced members of this, whatever this is. And I literally did put a LinkedIn post talking about collaborations, and lo and behold, I put a picture of Robbie, and here he is. He answered the call.
Magic, right?
Where
Magic.
am I?
No, it's good to be here. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of respect for Mark and what he's done,
Likewise.
what he's achieved. So it's good to be here. I hate his football team, but this year, actually, I'm really behind your team, man, because apart from when you play us, you've got a job to do.
Yeah.
And that job starts this weekend.
Well, look, we're going to talk about Arsenal. We're going to talk about Spurs. We're going to talk about lots of things because I want to get Robbie's opinions on it. Obviously, we haven't spoke for ages, but we're going to start off with the big game of the weekend, which is Liverpool against Arsenal. No, it's not. It's Liverpool against Man United. Yeah, I mean, look, we'll talk about the title race first of all, but I'm really interested to get your thoughts on Manchester United. And I suppose part of that is, two things. You've been in this situation with Arteta a bit of time. We saw the Arteta out T-shirts. You finished 8th, and then you've had 2 title races. And also Marcus Rashford, a lot of things, again, coming about him today. What you look at Man United with Ten Hag and Rashford on those 2 topics? Would you be giving United more time with Ten Hag? Do you think Rashford can turn it around?
I think Rashford can turn it around. He's having a really bad season, and I think it looks so much worse because of how good he was last season. I think I just look at him and I just think there's got to be something going on in the background.
Yeah.
Or you can't go from what you were doing last season to this season, how he's playing. It's just like night and day, and I just wonder is there an issue in the background, because remember, we don't know all what's going on, but he just doesn't seem right. He's a top quality player, and we saw that last year. I just don't understand how poor he's been on occasions this season. I do think he kind of has that body language, and maybe this is just, it's not that he doesn't care. He obviously cares. He's a Manchester lad, but
you just can't switch it on,
he has that body language, and some people just have that. That sort of comes across like you don't care, but I'm sure he does care, and I'm sure he wants to perform for Man United, but it's just not happening for him at the moment.
Just on Ten Hag, then obviously Mark was making them comparisons with like Arteta's been given time, he's come through fruition. Do you think you could see that with Ten Hag, or is it time to get in Gareth Southgate?
That's your answer. That's the best. That's the best bit of analysis you'll get on Man United going for Southgate ever. He really loves Southgate.
Oh, I'm a big Southgate fan.
He loves Ange as well. We'll get on that.
Southgate, right? By the way, has done brilliantly for England, but he's the only brilliant thing about Southgate is that it's that when to get us across the line.
Yeah.
He's not brave enough, and that's where I think that's his big flaw. He's not brave enough in those situations, but he is, what were England doing before he come? They were awful.
What are Man United doing? They're awful.
Yeah. But going back to with Ten Hag, I'm a bit unsure, I have to admit. I watch United playing sometimes and I'm like, what is the style? What are you trying to do? I could always see with Arteta what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening because he didn't have the personnel. He didn't, it just...
Well, he had a plan from early doors, didn't he? Get rid of Ozil, get rid of Aubameyang, bring through the youth.
Yeah, and he made those plans pretty clear when he came in. He said, this is what I'm going to do. And if there's anybody who's not down for what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of them. He says, I want to bring the team close to the fans, which he's done. And
get the dog in?
Huh?
Get the dog in?
Yeah, I just think that he got the dog in, yeah. But it's the little things that he's brought in have all worked over time. But he did have a tough time. But I always could see, and I think fans could always see what he was trying to do. with Ten Hag at the moment, I can't see. I watched that game against Brentford last week. I'm like, what are
you
United
get paid
trying
to watch
to do?
that, Robbie. As a non-United fan, that's going off rant and deck or whatever else is on. I'm sorry, it was awful.
Because I'm like, what is he trying to do? What's United's style of play? I don't know at the moment. I do not know what United's style is. I know that they'll counter attack. They're very good on the counter attack. But I don't know what the style is like. That game. What was the plan? What was the plan? How were you going to beat Brentford? What was the plan around it? I just couldn't see. And I've seen that in a lot of games. And I always look at that and think that's a bit worrying.
Yeah.
Because if someone's got a plan and they've got a style of playing, but it's just not working out, well, it could be he needs better players in certain positions to then make that happen. But at the moment, I'm not seeing any sort of plan from Erik Ten Hag. And that's why I'm unsure if he's that guy for Man United.
I think the big lessons from what you're saying there as well, and they're very true, is in relation to he needs to make some big decisions like Rashford, Bruno, McTominay. They're a little bit like an Aubameyang and an Ozil, like they're big play. Well, McTominay's not, but he gets picked a lot. He's got to sort of draw a line in the sand and say, these are part of my plan or they're not part of my plan, because there's a lot of uncertainty there. Liverpool at the weekend, obviously this would be a massive result for you if Man United can do it again. With regards to the title race at the moment, I've said a few times, I think it's difficult for Arsenal because they've got the more difficult run-in, but they would be my pick to win the league because Liverpool are our biggest rival. I can't stand Man City. The integrity's not there. So I'd choose Arsenal. Where do you feel as an Arsenal fan at the moment? Are you like delusionally confident? Are you realistic? Just enjoying the ride? Where do you think it's going at the moment? Who's out in the front? Because we talk about it every week, and Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. What's your thoughts?
I'm realistic and I'm enjoying the ride. And then every now and again I get delusional. But the reality of it is that we're up against two teams that they've done it before. Yeah. We haven't done it. Two top quality sides. In Man City, obviously, they've done it multiple times and they're the treble holders. Liverpool, who I have to say, I've been impressed with them because you consider the amount of injuries they've had, the amount they've had to play in kids and stuff like that, and the way they've still been able to perform. They've
rebuilt his midfield in the summer as well.
They've only lost a couple of games this season. I mean, they have been very impressive. And they've got the easiest running. It can go any way, it really can. I think, though, this Arsenal team are capable of doing it. I really do feel that way. I was even at the Luton game. I thought that was a very, even though it wasn't, I know a lot of fans were expecting us to sort of smash them 5-6-0. It was almost like Arsenal, first of all, made a load of changes to the squad, which they all came in and did well. Got the 2-0 and just said to themselves, right, you know what, we've got the game won. We're not going to overexert ourselves. We're not really going to get out of second gear in the second half because we've got bigger games coming up at the weekend. We've got to go to Brighton. We've got Bayern Munich coming up in the Champions League. And it was a very mature, professional performance. Whereas last season, I think we were very emotional.
Yeah.
Sort of,
feel that, couldn't you?
Yeah. And so every game seemed like, we had to go out there and, and I was relating that Luton game to the Southampton game we had last year. Very similar team, teams were in a similar position. Yeah. Southampton, were, facing, well, they ultimately did get relegated, but they came to the Emirates and they were like 2-0 up because, we just lost our heads a bit. Recovered it back, all right, it's 3-3, but it was a massive 2 points dropped. We've matured a lot since that last season. And also, I feel when you look at the three teams that are going for it at the moment, I feel we're the best team. We got the best defence. We've scored the most goals. And neither of those two teams in Man City or Liverpool have beaten us this season. And we've beaten both of them. We've taken 4 points off of both of those teams this season. So we've been the better team, So why can't we do it? The only thing that's the advantage for them, slightly easier run-ins. And also, they've done it before. This is our first. But I do see a calmness in Arsenal. I do see a team that can do it. They can go all the way. Even if you look at the run-in that Arsenal have got, as difficult as it is, if you compare all the same games last season, the only game that we lost out of those teams that we're facing, like, Tottenham away, Chelsea at home,
Man United away.
Man United away. That was the only game we lost. We lost Man United away, and you were very fortunate that day to beat us, right?
We had it win at half time, didn't you?
Yeah. All the other games we won. Every single one of those. We beat Tottenham, we beat Chelsea, we beat Wolves away, we beat Brighton away. So we got a chance. We do got a big chance of winning this league. It's just about holding our nerve.
Just from a Liverpool perspective, do you think from an Arsenal fan perspective, the big catalyst was almost off the pitch when Jurgen Klopp announced he was going to retire? Because for me, that just like ties into narrative, the Carabao Cup win. It just feels like it's an emotional thing and they're doing it for him.
Yeah, but you can be too emotional sometimes.
Yeah, true.
Because I saw last year that with Arsenal, it was too emotional. I remember Gary Neville talking about it. At the time, I was thinking, what's he on about? Like emotional. But I understand. Towards the end of the season, I was like, actually, I get what he's talking about. It can be too emotional. You kind of to sometimes be. That's why City are very good, right? Because sometimes they're just boringly consistent.
Yeah.
And they don't care if they just go and like pass you to death and win 2-0. They'll just do that. That coldness, and you kind of need that at this stage of the season. So could it be this too much emotion attached to the whole Klopp thing, leaving and that? I don't know, but Klopp's a very experienced manager as well, and they're playing well. And I don't see many teams going and getting anything at Anfield.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting on Sunday. I do, because I mean the FA Cup game. You know, you watch Man United against Brentford, like you say, we were absolutely terrible. But
you won't play like that.
The thing about Liverpool, and maybe we don't know the result from the Chelsea game. Most of you listening will know. But Liverpool, that crowd won't accept it. It's the same at the Emirates, it's the same at Anfield. It doesn't matter what Arsenal, Man United or Liverpool team it is. The players can think they're not going to turn up, but the home crowd won't allow that to happen, especially... And look, I don't want Man City to win the league. I want Arsenal to win the league. I can't stand City, but every United fan will not accept letting Liverpool have a point or anything else. We'll have to beat them on Sunday. And the problem is, as Robbie said, is that Liverpool are such a good team. And when we play Arsenal next month, you know, we will want to beat Arsenal because it's like, you've been in that position yourself, haven't you? We've got nothing to play for. We're not going to get Champions League football. But if you can be the one that can be there at the end to the Arsenal fans going, have that. It's a bit of a cup final for us, and you've got a few games like that. You've got Chelsea, you've got Spurs, so
we've got loads of cup finals.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. Arsenal are going to have to do is win every game, and I think Liverpool are going to have to win every game because we saw Man City last night, and I was going to ask you about that. I mean, just quickly, where are you going to go? Liverpool, Man United at the weekend?
I think Klopp won't make the same mistakes that he did against.
Yeah, they should have killed us in that second half.
Exactly. They had so many chances in that game, so I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, bloody
3-0.
Yeah, well, just to get him wound up a little bit more. It's really good to see that. Look at him.
I'll be behind the chair again on Sunday afternoon.
I don't think so, because United will step it up, like you said, for this game. It's not going to be a Brentford performance. You're at home. You're not going to want to get embarrassed by Liverpool. You want to stick one on them. However, Liverpool are a better side than Man United. The other thing that worries me with Man United is the injuries. I mean, like
defensively,
you barely got a defender.
No.
I don't know how. I think it could be a draw, though.
I think it could be very similar to Arsenal City.
Yeah, I don't think United.
We're watching that.
I'm not sure if United will lose.
Draw,
but I can't see them winning the game. But they can take a lot of spirit from because. I was actually away at the time and I watched that game, and I thought United, they showed a little. That was more like the United I know.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of spirit, man. You know what I mean? The way they came back a couple of times, players stepping up, Rashford stepped up, and all these players, they're going to take a lot of heart from that. It's going to be a cauldron in there as well for Liverpool. But I see a draw. That's what I see in that game, to be honest.
It's just mad, though, because you say all that, and then all this high Old Trafford bouncing, and then they go to Brentford and put one of the worst performances in the season.
United have been like that for years.
I know, but
they've sort of been like that a lot on the road as well, haven't
they,
United? They've been like, was it the other day they won? I can't remember who they beat, and then they played Fulham.
Yeah. Well, beat Villa away. Beat Villa away and then get beat by Fulham at home.
And then put in a shot. That's what United, because they've got the quality.
Yeah.
They have the quality. That's why I say I'm not always convinced with Ten Hag, because, all right, I know that United team needs players, but they've still got a lot of quality in that team. Bruno, Casemiro, these are top players. So they should still be doing better. But on any given day, those players click, you've got problems, especially at Old Trafford. And that ain't going to be Brentford. They won't put in a performance like
they won't
the
be allowed
Brentford
to. We do it every week, Will. Who is going to win the league at the moment?
I've stuck with Liverpool. I'm not flip-flopping like you. I'm a man of moral. I'm a man of I'm integrity, and I've stuck with Liverpool since the Klopp announcement, just a bit before that, even through the youngsters. So I'm going Liverpool.
I'm going to stick with hopefully I'll jinx it. I'm going to stick with City. I can't believe some of the luck they've had this year. The penalty that was given against us at Old Trafford wasn't a foul. The Doku thing. The even going back to the Arsenal game, they should have had 2 sending offs. I know you won that game. The Villa putting the bloody reserves out. They won't do that against Arsenal next week. So I'm going to stay still. City are dangerous.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Arsenal.
Good.
Right?
Clean sweep.
Let's break it up. You know what I mean? Nobody's giving us a chance.
That could be to your positive, though.
And as I said, this is a different Arsenal, you know what I mean, at the moment. And we beaten both of those teams this season. We beat City. We beat Liverpool. And as I said, we've got the best defence. We've got a very good defence. I think we've only conceded 4 goals since the start of the year. Got a very good defence. It's very difficult to score against us. And we score goals. And I think, with Declan Rice in there. And the other good thing about Arsenal at the moment is that, we've been beset by injuries for most of the season. But now all of those players are kind of back. Partey's back.
Yeah.
So now you use Partey or do you play Declan Rice? We've got that, you know what I mean? Every single player now is fit, I think, apart from Urian Timber. And even he's nearing to come back.
Yeah.
That could be really important in the running.
Yeah.
And we were there last year when we fell away. But we've learnt a lot from that. I feel that we can do it.
I think the exciting thing as well, even last night when City were 2-1 up, and you think that whole Villa front 4, front 5 was replaced, they still had some glorious chances and could have gone 2-2.
Yeah, Douglas Luiz had a chance.
It's not the same City side, is it?
No, hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Talking about City, nice little either or for you. Gets spoken about all the time. I know where I'd go. Saka or Foden?
Saka. I'm sticking with Saka.
There you go.
Saka.
Is that your heart and your head?
That's my both.
Okay.
Right? Listen, they're both great players. And I remember Rio came out and said what he said. And me and Rio had lots of back and forths on it, right?
I think he had a bad day that day.
He said
he'd rather watch Doku than Saka.
Doku was no in product.
Alan St. Maximin.
Right. If you look at Foden, yeah? Foden and Saka, if Foden's world class, so is Saka. Right? I'm not sure if either of them are world class yet. But they're both great players, both great young players. Foden's probably having a better season, but just got to look at Saka's numbers that he's consistently put in over the years. Even this year, again, his numbers are incredible. And he's not just done it for Arsenal, he's done it for England as well.
Yeah.
He's one of England's best players. He won Player of the Season twice for England, right? He was he was 19 when he first burst into that England team. And he's one of the first picks for Gareth Southgate. He's consistently good. He's one of these players, right, Saka, sometimes, right, that you watch him in a game, and I've seen this many times when I'm interviewing fans. So you come out of a game, and we're talking about the game, and I go, Saka was all right today. I go, all right. I go, he scored and he had an assist.
Yeah. So it's sort of set the bar so high, isn't he?
They go, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That's because he's just so consistently good. On the eye, you probably say Foden because, he's got some incredible little skillful things that he does. And he's having a fantastic season. So but both great players. But for me, Saka, consistently good, always turns up, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't swap him.
It's a bit like City, Will. The integrity isn't there with Foden at City because Saka's grown in an Arsenal side that wasn't still not a title-winning side, and he's grown. I think that from the Euros when he's
carrying the team at one time,
from the Euros to now, he's just been so consistent. And you look at people like Rashford, Sancho, Saka all missed a penalty. You look at Rashford and Sancho. I'm not saying that's why they fell off, but Saka, it's that mentality that I was talking about this morning. There are certain players that are made to play top-level football because they are consistent and their mentality and all the noise. Instead of some United players who hear the noise and they'll be like, oh, Rio, why have you said that about me? Or why has he said that? You get the impression that Saka just looks in the mirror and goes, right, I'll shut them up. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to stay on my lane. I think it'd be interesting. I think you put Saka in a Man City side, he's getting all the plaudits. You put Foden in an Arsenal side, still a very good player, but could he do what Saka's done over the years? I don't know, because I think what Saka's done at Arsenal is incredible.
He was carrying that Arsenal team at one time, carrying it. He's a top quality player that almost sometimes goes under the radar with some other fans but I'm telling you, the most important thing in football when you're good is about being consistently good, and he is consistently good.
I'd still go Phil Foden, and probably being honest, that is on the eye test, and obviously it comes after scoring a hat-trick against Aston Villa, which is always a good thing in my books.
You're very shallow, Will.
Yeah, I'm very shallow. And that comes across in the content. But I think for me, it's just a way of trying to get. And the most exciting thing for me as an England fan, you look at, we've got the best player in the league with Jude Bellingham. We've got the best player in the Bundesliga with Harry Kane. Premier League, I think Cole Palmer, Saka, and I can't remember his name. Phil Foden, we're literally speaking about him.
And they said Declan Rice, yeah?
Yeah, well, those three are on like 30 goals and assists for the season. So it's like we take it for granted, isn't it? Like the numbers they're putting up are absolutely astronomical. So for me, that's why it is. Like, he has got to win the Euros. But for Phil Foden, for me, Mark.
What about, we just mentioned Declan Rice there. We've spoken a couple of times about player of the year or even signing of the season. I think that... Foden probably will win it because he's an attacker, but I personally think there's three players that stand out: Rodri, Rice and McAllister, all in a title race, all running the midfield. I mean, Declan Rice has been the way he's adjusted as a £100 million player. For me, it's McAllister at Liverpool or it's Rice at Arsenal. What are your thoughts on Declan Rice this season and how he's adapted at Arsenal?
I'm going to be biased and go for Rice. I think he's been absolutely amazing for Arsenal. Last year, Thomas Partey, if he was missing for Arsenal, fans would be walking to the game and be like, oh my God, no, we'd probably lose this game. Rice has come in. Remember, we've hardly had Partey this season. Yeah. Rice has come in. He's been absolutely amazing. He hit the ground running immediately. Nobody talks about how much we paid for him because he's just lived up to it. He's been a leader on the pitch. He's scored goals. The way in which he just mops things up, he's been one of the reasons why our defence as well has been so good, just cleaning up things in front of that. He always senses danger, and he's just such an incredible player. What a signing he's been. We've seen other players that have signed for big fees. Grealish didn't hit the ground running. He had a struggle at first. We've seen Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea struggling. Caicedo.
Lavia was.
Well, you've said it so many times. £100 million player. Grealish first season wasn't good. I mean, Declan. I'm glad he's getting the plaudits, and I'm glad McAllister's getting the plaudits. It is absolutely incredible. I've got to ask you about Man City. You're in the title race. I'm not, as a Man United fan. They absolutely wind me up. People talk about the 1-1-5, Villa putting the B team out, should have had a penalty, Liverpool. But look, you're locked in a title race at the moment. Do you look at it and go, I look at it and go, if Man City win this league by a point or two, I'm really worried that an amazing season, drops integrity rise, whether it's PGMOL, whether it's the Chargers or anything like that. Do you look at it and go, well, what are your thoughts on Man City, and would you rather Liverpool win it over them?
If it came down to it, we was talking about this the other day on AFTV. Everybody had a different one, but we said if we didn't win it, I'd rather Liverpool win it. And that's a crazy thing to say because,
I'm bordering on it as a United fan.
Because I know so many Liverpool fans and you're going to have to bear up with him the whole summer.
Yeah.
But I do like the way they go about stuff and the way they've done things. I do admire Klopp. You know what I mean? And as I said, look at the adversity they've had this season with all the injuries and stuff like that. I do look at City sometimes and think,
they're boring.
How that's all been put together.
Horrible light blue shirt.
So I'm listen. You got to respect City. They're one of the treble winners and that. But I think for the league, it would be better if either Arsenal or Liverpool won it. It can't just, when you start having a league where one team's just winning it
the Bundesliga,
every single year.
It'd be four in a row, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't like that for this league. I think this league as well needs another winner.
While you've got him in this one, do the Champions League thing.
What?
Do the either or on the Champions League thing.
What, from the sides? Which one are you on about?
Spurs.
Oh, sorry, man. I was in
Spurs.
another.
Spurs. We're talking about Champions League. Why are you mentioning Spurs?
What are your thoughts on Spurs? Because I am sit here as probably number one member of the Big Ange fan club. I
He wants to
absolutely
wash
love
his
him.
car.
Wants to wash his car. I'll do other sorts, but we can't talk about it on air. I think Big Ange, the way he's come in and changed that Spurs side, but then a lot of people that don't like him say media are gassing him up.
One season wonder.
One season wonder. But what do you think about him?
Are you scared of Spurs in any sense?
Scared.
But like they're doing a lot better. Their squad's quite good. Do you think
Spurs.
they
He's getting a tune out of Timo Werner. That's the most scary
Well,
thing.
Arsenal have come from nowhere in 2 years, haven't they? I mean, do you think Spurs
Scared
could
of
follow that
Spurs,
road, or do you think they'll
Did
be?
you say you're worried,
Spurs.
scared,
Not worried.
sleepless
man.
nights?
Have you seen what we're doing?
Yeah.
Well, I'm more
He
worried
ain't
about
scared.
Spurs.
I can tell.
But
Chest's gone up like that. What?
listen,
Spurs?
let me give them their respect, right? When they came to the Emirates,
They played well, didn't they?
after about the first 15 minutes, I turned around to my friend. I said, "This is a different Spurs, man. They're playing good.
Yeah.
They're brave in the way they're playing, the way they're pressing, and that." I was quite impressed with them. I ain't gonna lie. They, you know, what I mean, I thought the draw was a fair result. But then we've seen since, you know, the 1 minute they play well, then they're very inconsistent.
Yeah.
You know, he plays this real high line. Seems to only have one way of playing. Will he get sussed out a bit?
Yeah.
That's what I'm starting to, you know, you're starting to see some results that they've had. It's almost like he's been worked out a little bit. But listen, if you're a Tottenham fan, and, you know, I know a lot of them, they're excited at the moment because, you know, the football that they were playing under Conte and under Mourinho was awful, dreadful football.
It was, yeah.
And
Let's not
he's
forget
got 'em-
Nuno as well.
He's got them playing
Oh,
good
yes.
football. He's got some good players that, you know, I think that Van der Ven, the Doggy, these guys are good players. But I'm not scared of Spurs. You know what I mean? They're playing well. They're doing all right, but I'm scared.
Do you think they'll
Are you
get?
serious?
Who do you think is going to get fourth? Them or Villa?
I think they'll get fourth.
Yeah, I do.
I think they'll get fourth because I think Villa might.
Too much on.
But fifth
Think-
would still be Champions League, though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it could be. I think it's going to be them. One of them is going to get fourth, and they're going to get that fourth and fifth spot. But listen, you have to give credit. You know, putting aside all the rivalry and that, you have to give credit where credit's due. In his first season, for him to come in, and his big sort of goes back to a bit what I was saying about Ten Hag. I can see what Ange Postecoglou is trying to do at Tottenham. You can see the pattern of play. You can see how he wants them to play.
Yeah.
With Ten Hag, I don't know. I ain't got a clue what he's trying to use. Is it defensive? Is it just counter-attack? Is it attacking what? I don't know. With Postecoglou, I know what he's trying to do, and I get why you'd look on it and say he's been impressive. He has, you have to admit, he has been impressive this season, but it's Tottenham.
Yeah.
And we all know it ends up, right? He's going to crash. Right?
Well, they've also out of everyone in the top five, they're the only one that's not had to deal with European football, which is obviously very demanding.
And I think you're starting to see. I thought they looked tired the other night against West Ham. I think they run out of steam a bit in that game in the second half. The first half they played well, but the second half they really dropped off. And again, when you play that style of what he's trying to play, and you're playing that the whole season, where it's a high press, high line, lots of energy required for that, to maintain that for the whole season, even though they haven't had any Europe, is not always easy. So, but yeah, I'll give him his credit. He's for his first season managing Tottenham, considering where they were
Coming from Celtic.
He came from Celtic. He's done well.
I've got a question, actually. I'll forget it if I don't
first.
ask it. I meant to ask it at the start of the show. So, Arsenal fan, Arsenal doing really well. One player you can take from Manchester United. Who would you take? Please say someone.
Take Rasmus, because then you
Please
can
say
shut up
someone.
about him.
No, I don't think he will take Rasmus. I think I know who
No,
he's
that
going
was
to
just
take.
a selfish one from my
I think I know who
standpoint.
he's going to take. I'll do that.
I think.
The fact that he's having to think it through is
No, but
concerning.
you know what it is? It's like,
It's
if
too
I'm
many.
taking,
There's too many. Ooh,
I was
do I
thinking
take
to
that?
myself, if I'm
Harry
taking
Maguire?
a player, where does he go? Who?
Harry Maguire?
Harry Maguire?
Yeah, you take Harry Maguire.
No, you're good, man.
That's about
honestly,
it, really.
it's not-
Garnacho?
I do like Garnacho.
Bruno Fernandes?
Yeah, I like Garnacho. But the thing is, right, am I taking him to replace a player?
No, I'm just
taking him in general.
You're taking the
Robbie,
player that you would want to come into your Arsenal
Oh,
squad.
okay. That's a good shout. Garnacho, I like him. I think he's a
Again,
very,
Harry
not the one I
Maguire.
said.
That's a
very,
good-
very good player. There's two.
Not Harry
Garnacho, I
Maguire.
like. I think that Dallow's an underrated player. I think he's. I like him.
I think Rasmus would do a good job for you. You ain't got a striker. You probably don't know enough about him because he's still an up and coming player. Mainu is who I thought you'd go for. He'd suit Arsenal.
Kobe Mainoo as well.
Yeah.
He's very, very good. Yeah, I remember I saw him in the summer when Arsenal
he got injured straight away.
United and
No, that was Madrid actually.
over in America.
Yeah.
And he played well.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this kid? Who's he? You're looking on the program, Mainoo. Never heard of him, man. You know what I mean? But then I remember I was saying that time when Rashford burst on the scene. That was against us as well. I was like, who's this Rashford? Yeah. I remember when we went to that game, I go, this is the year we take United out. There, you remember you had a load of injuries. I was like, who's this Rashford? This player, that player. And then they turned up and beat us. And then Rashford scored. But Mainoo, I'll take Mainoo or Garnacho. Those two young players, I think, United need to build their future around them too. They're two really good players. It's
funny with Mainoo because I've said this a few times on the United stand that you get like people saying he's the next Pogba, he's the next Seedorf. And I said, he's not the next anything. I hate all that. But actually, if you're talking about a player that he reminds me a little bit of, and people laughed because they just look at him as a failure, I said Jack Wilshere. I think Jack Wilshere, when he burst on the scene, had this really good ability to take people on, pass, and was tenacious. And that's what I've seen from Mainoo. He's not really Pogba. I mean, if he ends up like Seedorf, great. But he has got that. Yeah. He can glide. I love midfielders who can take people on. He's got a really intelligent passing range, and he can put a tackle in. And
I just hope, though, they don't put too much
on him
pressure. Because at the moment...
Feels like all the pressure. I mean, he did that Cruyff turn in the England game. I saw it on about 54 Twitter accounts within... Probably one was yours as well, wasn't it?
No, I didn't do it.
No.
Yeah, I think United fans at the moment, they're so desperate to have something positive to talk about. And he is that positive person, isn't it?
Especially when it's the academy.
Garnacho's done brilliantly as well, I think, this season. I mean, and when it's all on young players like that show, I've seen it with Saka.
Yeah.
When Saka burst on the scene, it was all... That's what I said. He was carrying us. So maybe it's going to be Mainoo, Garnacho, Hoylands that carries United through this.
One thing I do some of the Man United Arsenal
Sorry,
stuff.
no, just last one before we get to that. One thing we didn't have down I wanted to get to was what your thoughts on the Ben White England situation, because it keeps like rearing its head, coming back down. What do you think? Is he in the right? Is he in the wrong?
He doesn't want to play for England. It's not a crime, is it?
No.
You know, I had to say to someone what you like. We was having this big argument the other day, and the person I was arguing was going, "When England calls you, you got to come." And I said, "What is it? Conscription?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not going to war, are we? You know, I mean, it's not. Yeah. The guy don't want to play. Wouldn't you rather that a player say, "You know what? I don't really like going to play for England."
He's not the first one to do it,
because then he's not going to give his best. If his heart's not in it, he's not going to give his best. We don't know the bigger. I think there's something else that's gone on. Maybe he doesn't get on with the management and stuff like that. It seems like that's quite obvious, right? And he just doesn't want to play. Leave the guy alone. Yeah. Bring in someone else.
He won't go to the Euros anyway. It wouldn't go to the Euros anyway. You know, Trent had come back. He wouldn't go.
No, but I think he's been the best right back in the Premier League.
I think he's better than Kyle Walker. I said that. I've done it on this show.
Right back in the Premier League this season.
You've done it on this show, mate.
I think he has been this season. But if he don't want to play, that's the guy's decision. You know what I mean? I don't think he should be crucified for it. I get it.
When your country calls you, mate, your country
we all look on it and think if it was us, we'd be running to go and play for England, right? I get it, but everybody's different. And maybe he's just thinking, I don't even want to go there. I don't feel comfortable there. I don't really get on with certain people to do with England. I'd rather stay at home with my family in June and go on holiday. And that's up to him. We're not going to war.
No.
Well, I mean, this is a football tournament.
That's why it was quite nice when he signed the contract and they did that thing where because I probably have an opinion based on certain things that I've read, but all the players came out and said why they liked him and they just put him in a different light.
Fans love him at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I don't think no fans are looking on it and saying, you know, you've let your country down or anything. It's a nice decision.
Well, let's get to the prime time of football for me. We all know Premier League and football started in 92. Man United, Arsenal, the prime rivalry.
The best rivalry in Premier League history.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100%.
No debating that. So I just wanted to, let's start with some classics. Your invincible team or your treble win in 1919.
You know what? Rest in peace. I remember doing this with you lot outside the Emirates with Claude and Ty.
Well, I never thought we'd get this moment
Claude,
again.
Rest in peace, actually was spot on. And Ty would not let it go. I think he wanted to talk about the 98 double team being better than the 99.
I'm siding with Ty. Invincible team, right?
I don't respect it.
If you're talking... Hold on. What are you talking about, Mark? The best Premier League team.
Was that the question? Who's the best?
That's what you just said.
Yeah.
And that's how the
better
questions...
team.
No,
Who's the best Premier League team?
Premier League team.
No, who's the best team out of that?
Yeah, best
What are
team.
you asking?
99.
Who's the best team?
99, yeah.
Premier League team.
You drew 12 games, Robbie.
We won the league.
You drew 12 games.
Did we lose? When people say this, you drew 12 games.
I don't think it's even the best Arsenal side I've seen.
Let me just break it down to you one more time. We went the whole season unbeaten and we won the league.
Yeah, you know what? If VAR had been about, he wouldn't have beat Portsmouth. Bloody Van Persie, not Van Persie, Perez.
If VAR was around, right, we would have went 50 games unbeaten, right? And the
that was a penalty.
The Wayne Rooney dive.
Sol Campbell could have killed him. He could have killed him. It was vicious.
Yeah. Was VAR was around for that. If VAR was around, I question if United would have won as many titles.
Wow.
If they would have had proper timekeeping.
Yeah.
In those days, right? So,
we'd be all right now. They had 12 minutes every bloody
that
game.
would even be legitimate minutes, unlike when Fergie was like saying to referees or that. You know what I mean?
Look, the best Arsenal side I've seen was actually the 98 double team. I thought it was brilliant. Ian Wright was still playing there, wasn't he?
Yep,
yeah. I liked that side. Invincibles, just for me, I think they just got locked in on it. Like, because you didn't win any other trophies, did you? You drew 12 games.
You should have won more that season.
I think it became
the thing.
Yeah, and it was a brilliant thing to do.
It's never been done since.
I don't think it will be. I think it's a really hard thing to do.
Never been done since. We've seen the great City team, 100 points. We've seen the great Liverpool team. I don't expect anything different from an Arsenal fan, but obviously it's Manchester United. Remember when Liverpool were going for it, right? They were
quad, wasn't it?
They were all secretly, we're going to do invincible now. They lost to Watford.
Yeah.
Hard to do, bro.
It is really hard to do.
Why didn't they draw that?
I know.
I'd go for the treble winning side because I know I'm sat by the Don and huge respect to you, but I think to win the Champions League final without Scholes, Keane, and who was in the middle?
Are we talking about the Premier League? Or
I'm just saying who's the best side?
Who's the best side?
All right, look, if you're going to say an overall team, you'd have to make an argument for United because they won the treble.
It riles me that City won a treble. It's just not.
Pending.
It's not the same.
Asterisk pending.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, take it off them.
They actually won the treble as well, kind of in a better style than you guys did it because you did have to rely on a little bit of last.
We did it with smaller squads.
Nice.
We didn't do it with 115.
You did it with Jonathan Greening in the squad. And he's a good player, but he's not a treble winning player.
I mean, it's horrible for football that things like that happen.
One last one before we get into Goldbridge, which we'll teach you about, Robbie. It's not that complicated. Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira?
Vieira. Ooh.
Gave Giggsy the ball. And Arsenal won. Fuck all. It's got to be Roy Keane.
It's got to be Vieira.
Yeah.
You're going to get the casting vote on this. No, I think Roy Keane himself would admit that Vieira technically was a better footballer.
Better player.
But Roy Keane, I'd never seen a captain like it.
Won the World Cup.
Never seen a captain like Roy Keane.
That's not what they said in the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah. But,
we've never seen a captain like Roy Keane.
He's a better player than he gets credit, Robbie, admit it.
Whilst your guy was going home, our guy was winning the World Cup.
I don't count international tournaments. I never have.
He will do when Southgate brings it home, mate, I tell you.
Roy Keane's a better player than he gets credit for.
He was a great player.
Yeah. He doesn't get that credit at all. I think people just think he was a bit of a thug because of the Harlem thing.
That is true. And he was a great player. He was like... I often look at certain players like Roy Keane. I'd love to see him playing now. I think he would be as good as... He reminds you a lot of Declan Rice.
Yeah, he wouldn't like that.
Or shall I say Declan Rice reminds you a lot of Roy Keane in the way he plays.
Yeah.
Because remember Roy Keane used to have that ability to break up play. Just
nice
like you said, he weren't
passes.
just... So...
Declan Rice stayed with the Republic of Ireland as well. I mean, Roy Keane stayed with the Republic of Ireland. I messed that one up.
Yeah.
Title race this weekend. This is where I worry that Man City can kick into gear because they've got Palace away. You've got Brighton away, which
I'm looking forward to that.
Brighton away feels for me a bit like your new Stoke. You used to have that battle with Stoke back in the day.
No.
They beat you last season, didn't they? At the Emirates, was it like 4-1 or something?
Last season, and
right at the end when you're giving up.
We went to the Emirates, we went to Brighton and beat them 4-2.
Yeah,
we were 4. I think it was 4-1 up.
Yeah,
right. So. They're not the Stoke. We smashed them at the Emirates this season. It's a tough game because it's Brighton. They play great football, but I think we'll win that game. Remember, sorry to cut you, Mark. Right? Remember that game last year, Palace, when they played. I'm not saying that Palace will beat City, but Palace, it was a last-minute penalty, if I remember rightly, which City got that win.
Yeah,
and they won 1-0. There's not it's not a given.
No.
I was going to ask just about Brighton. De Zerbi has been linked with the Liverpool job. Obviously, Alonso's not going to take it. What do you think about the Liverpool next season? I'd expect Arsenal are just going to keep building. Arteta has steadily built it. Man City obviously aren't going to go anywhere. Could be a big year for Liverpool. Klopp's such a massive manager. Yeah. What's your thoughts on where they should be going next?
I thought Alonso would have been absolutely perfect for Liverpool, and now that's not happening. I really wonder. I think maybe that the Sporting, is it Amarin?
Yeah.
He's a good manager. I think that might be a decent fit.
I don't rate De Zerbi that much. I think it's a bit of a risk, a bit of a red flag.
I think De Zerbi's a bit of risk in the way he plays football. It's a bit like Ange, isn't it? Where it's kind of got one way of playing. It'd be a riot for Liverpool fans. It'd be a bit of a risk. But he'd have better players than what he's got at Brighton. Look what he's done with Brighton's players. So then you could argue that with Liverpool's players, I don't think it would be a bad appointment if they got De Zerbi. I'm
scared.
I do think he's a good manager.
Do you think it becomes like Klopp goes? Do you think it goes back to a top two, but with you in it and City? Because then, if you look behind, Spurs probably won't make that step. Villa won't. Chelsea, you ain't going to do it.
That Liverpool team's really well. I was surprised when Klopp went because I thought he was a bit like Sir Alex. I thought he was building another team. But you're right. They get the right manager, I think they'll stay there.
I think they'll stay there. I think if they get the right manager, they'll stay there. They've got a very good side. I think they'll stay there. But I think, like you said, remember last year, a lot of people were saying, Arsenal, if you don't win it this year, you never.
Yes,
you'll never be there again. I was thinking, what are they talking about? We're building a good side.
Yeah.
And if you build a good side and you're there and thereabouts, eventually you're going to win it. And I think that's what Arteta's doing. He's built a great side. If we don't win it this year, we'll be back in it again next year. I mean, it's a very, and he's improving on the side.
Who are you going to get in the summer when Arteta goes to Barcelona? That's the big question.
He ain't going to Barcelona.
Remember that? About 1 hour of Klopp retired, and then Arteta was going to Barcelona for an hour.
And he came out and said, I'm not going anywhere. I love it at Arsenal.
I'd be stupid to go. I mean, Barcelona's a big club. I'm a bit worried here. I might be destroying Arsenal's title race, but I'm going to say it anyway. I actually think they will not just beat Brighton on Saturday. I think they'll go there and wipe the floor with them. Because I think their last away game against Man City, they had to go and play a certain way. And I don't think they'll I praise them for doing it. He took the point. But I think this game, they'll go. And I'm getting a bit emotional about it.
It's all right,
Getting a bit emotional about it.
It's a big title race, mate.
No, I think they'll go and... I've seen Brighton a lot this season. They're not that Brighton. And I think Arsenal... So good defensively.
Brighton, they can turn up though, Brighton. That's the one thing I'll say about them. We've got to respect them a lot. But I think we've been good on the road. Remember, we went away, beat West Ham 6-0. There's been teams we've smashed.
Sheffield United.
I'm not saying we're going to smash Brighton. They're a good side, but I think we'll get the job done.
Just before we close up on the Premier League games, we were remiss not to ask you about the Champions League. I mean, almost forgetting that because the Premier League title race is so good. But I fancy against Bayern Munich, and then it could be Man City in a semi-final. I mean, look, we said a couple of weeks ago, looking at the run-in, it might be slightly easier for Arsenal to win the Champions League than it is the Premier League. But look, you've got a good chance.
The Champions League will be. We've got to beat
Bayern
over 2 legs. I think he's fit. We've got to beat Bayern over 2 legs, and then if we get past him, it's either City or Real Madrid just to get to the final.
If you lose in the second leg against Man City, just put your biggest thugs you can, and then that last half an hour, just absolutely
nailing them.
But the thing is about it, where we can look with a bit of confidence, is that Bayern haven't been playing great. They lost at home to Dortmund last week, so they're a bit vulnerable at the moment. Although they've still got that experience in the Champions League, which we don't have. And then if it comes down to, say, City or Real Madrid, I think I'd probably prefer City, and that's a weird thing to say because they're
Madrid are so good.
But I just got to go for the 2 games we played them this season. It's not really. We won one, we drew the other, and there's not been anything really in the game. So over 2 legs, you got to say we'd have a great chance.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, look at that City Arsenal semi-final and get really excited. I personally think it would play out like both those games.
Yeah.
It would be.
So, remember,
it worked at the Emirates.
Be like Liverpool. Remember Liverpool Spurs final? That is the worst
Chelsea
game.
Did it. Liverpool Chelsea did it over 2 semi-finals.
But if we could get to the final at Wembley, I mean, we got a good record at Wembley, man. You know what I mean? So I back us there.
Apart from 2011, Robbie, I didn't want to bring that up.
2000.
He's got his Birmingham. He has to bring Birmingham in every week.
Just when you think I've not done it, I've got it in there. Plenty more on Martin Taylor later on. No, I couldn't do that to you. Right, we do a game, Robbie, between me and Mark. We pick 5 scorers each week. So going into the fixtures, it'd be good to get your opinion on our picks.
How did I do midweek?
Well, we don't know, so it's still pending, isn't it?
Yeah, but I am winning, aren't I?
Well, you probably are because you just pull them out your arse and it always seems to go well. So, big fixture list this weekend. Mark, you're in the lead as of recording. Where do you want to go? And who are you picking?
Well, because we've got Robbie on the show and I think there'll be a lot of goals at Brighton, I'm going to go... I think Saka's so obvious to do, so I'm actually going to go Havertz.
Oh, I was going to go him, so I'll go Martin Odegaard. Thoughts on those? Solid picks?
Solid picks.
Okay.
Solid picks.
Nice start.
I think the Havertz one, I'd probably go with more than... Even though Odegaard scored a banger.
That's because I said 2011, wasn't it? That's why I get it. Right, your next one, pal.
I think Villa will bounce back against Brentford, and I don't want to go Ollie Watkins because I'm beating you by so much, so I'm actually going to go with... actually, you know what? I'm going to go Tony.
I'll go for Visser then.
But you think Brentford are going to score a lot of goals at Villa?
Yes.
They might get turned over big time there.
I thought, to be fair, I don't want to give him credit, but that Duran looked good last night.
He's a bit hit and miss, apparently.
Is John McGinn back for that game?
I think he was suspended, yeah.
Maybe he might be in a shout for that game. I think Watkins is out as well because he's had a hamstring, so...
he will miss it, won't he, Watkins, yeah.
I'll go John McGinn.
Okay.
Thanks, Robbie.
Right, I'm going to go... God, there's some tough ones to call here. I mean, there'll be goals at Fulham, Newcastle, so I will go with that Muniz again.
You've had him a few weeks. I'll go for Isaac.
Yeah, he's doing really well. A lot of people say about Isaac, he's like Thierry Henry. He's not Thierry Henry, but I know what they mean.
I can see he's been quality. Just the injuries, isn't it? But I'm telling you, I think at the moment, one of the best strikers in the Premier League.
Niall, our producer, said Isaac was better than Henry. What are your thoughts on that?
You can sack him right now. You've got our authority.
No, we're just trying to build him up.
That's why he's not in front of the mic then.
He didn't say that. No, he can't fend for himself.
Right, I'm going to go to...
this is your fourth pick.
Yeah, my fourth pick. I'm going to have to go to the Sunday games, really.
Yep.
I'll go... weird kickoff time. Sheffield United are playing at R5 on a Sunday against Chelsea, and Tottenham are playing at 6. Apparently it's to do with train strike in London on Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Tottenham Forest. I think there'll be a lot of goals in that one, and I'm going to go with... I'll go Brennan Johnson. You shouldn't be going niche. You're about 10 points behind.
Brennan Johnson's just scored. That's not niche.
Go with Son. Do you want a tip? Go with Son.
I'll go for Heung-min Son.
There you go.
Your fifth pick.
I'm going to go...
I'll go.
Go on, right? Yeah, get involved. Right?
Gibbs White. You know what I mean?
Whoa, yeah, nice.
Come on, Forrest.
Yeah. Get a hat trick. Sheffield United, Chelsea, I'll go next. And I'm going to go, Chelsea. Chelsea will be coming off for a bad result against United. So
that's horseshit.
Or a really confident one.
Yeah.
I can't ever go Jackson. So I'll Cole Palmer.
Okay, you'll go Cole Palmer. I'll go Man United, Liverpool. I'll go for young lad, don't know if he's going to progress, called Mo Salah.
Mm-hmm. Clean defender to score. Went Gabriel last time, so I can't go with him. So I'm going to go with... I'm going to go Botman for Newcastle.
Oh, he's out.
Yeah.
He's out. He's out for the rest of the season.
Robbie switched on.
That's what I mean.
He's out for the rest of the season, is it?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
He's out for about 9 months.
Lascelles as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with a Aston Villa defender. I'll go with Torres.
I'll go for Disasi.
And my clean sheet will definitely be... Who's playing... Oh, no, they're at home. I'll go with the Chelsea goalkeeper. What's he called? Petrovic. Yeah.
I'm going to go for whoever's in goal for West Ham. Areola.
He didn't play last game.
The other one then. I'm going to go for the West Ham goalie.
Fabianski.
Who would you go player of the year, Robbie? Just I was talking about Cole Palmer then. A lot of people saying he's had a very good season in a crap team. But
you know what? I think at the moment, as it stands, it's Cole Palmer, Foden, Rice for me. One of those three. Cole Palmer's been brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely brilliant.
And the stones on him to move as well. From a
everyone's
treble
talking
side.
about Foden, but like you said, he's not been in the greatest of sides, but he's stood up. At the moment, I dare Jim, you know. He stood up in every single game. Suppose he weren't at Chelsea.
I know, yeah.
Where would they be?
Fighting relegation.
You know?
Where are you going to go?
I think I'd go for Cole Palmer just for that reason of like, it was the Man City game when he turned up and like everyone was like, he'd been playing well, but that game he was phenomenal. And just from an England perspective as well, he's probably going to be starting on the bench, but you just feel like we said on Monday's show, to do a Panenka penalty at 1-0 at the weekend, I mean, the guy's got absolute balls on him, which you want in that position.
Yeah, he's good.
I can't go for a City player, so I'm going to go... Well, I like Alexis McAllister. I've been saying it all season.
Great player. We really like Alexis McAllister.
I really like Alexis McAllister. He's not happy.
Season.
Yeah. So,
he's been
cost
good.
back 35 million quid.
Actually,
that's true. He's been good, but is he like... I think he took a little while to get going. I think
you're not watching Liverpool though, are you? You're behind your sofa going. I lose.
I am watching Liverpool. I think that Enzo's Endo has been better than him.
No,
I think he's been really consistent. He has
You're wrong.
He sort of goes under the radar, because of the defence.
Yeah.
When you consider when he's come in and what he's done, I think he's been really good.
Sorry, I know who the correct answer is. Ross Barkley.
He's had a good season, but Luton are overhyped. Look at them.
You flip-flop
They're
on
not
Luton.
staying up.
If you're on the Luton train, stay on it. If you're off, get off.
I'm off.
All right.
I went on, I got on,
yeah,
and now I've got off.
Yeah,
They're going down.
I don't think they'll stay up, to be honest.
Listen to the Don.
I respect the Don.
They show a lot of fighting spirit, but then they all still end up losing the game.
Yeah. Apparently you're a Luton fan.
That's what they used to say.
I'm a Forest fan.
I did this Luton or Forest to go down there.
Up the Reds. Right. Come on, the Reds.
But I wouldn't like to see Luton stay up.
Yeah.
I would love to see him.
He's
stay
great
up.
manager, isn't he, Robbie?
Right, and I love, the fighting spirit that they've shown, and the fact that they've hardly spent anything, and the tiny little ground they've got, but they just lose so many games. I mean, they just
not winning 10 now, have they? So.
They're giving a good fist of it. They're the best out of those
they've
three,
done
but
brilliantly.
the quality gap is still.
You think
probably...
that they've come from non-league?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have gone up last year either, really. So it's just a tremendous job.
Robbie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thanks for having
me.
me.
Absolute treat. Thanks, Robbie.
No, it's been good.
And hope you win the league, genuinely.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
You never thought I'd say that.
It seems weird you saying that to me. I mean, I don't know, man.
I'm struggling with it myself.
I don't know how to take it, man. When you say that, you're being genuine.
I don't think my body is being genuine, but my brain is. Of course, it has to be Arsenal. I won't enjoy it. I'll still switch off Sky and everything like that for 2 months and just Euros.
But even though now, right, we're kind of like back talking and all that, right? So the consequences of us.
Oh, I know,
winning.
Yeah.
So I'll be on the phone to you.
Liverpool does a lot worse.
I could be turning up around with.
Yeah, as long as you don't bring Ty, that's fine.
I'm bringing everybody.
Yeah, I can't be dealing with him.
You know the address now, so you can get straight down there.
He's a right headache.
You sure you want this? Yeah,
I can see him at that door locked out, going, "Let me in, let me in."
You sure you want Arsenal to win this? Yeah.
Liverpool are our biggest rival, and City. It's like selling your grand. Isn't it? You can't have City like doing that. It's horrible.
Right, well, listen,
all the better. We want Arsenal to win.
You just do us a favour, man. When we come to Old Trafford, man.
You're a United fan at the weekend.
Arsenal United. I am, man. I want United to win that game.
Yeah.
Come on, United, man.
Well, I mean,
Bruno, come on.
You know what? It might be interesting. I'll say this. It might get to a point in May, if Arsenal are still right up there and we play them and Liverpool drop away, would I be in a point where I go, let Arsenal win at Old Trafford?
No,
I might. Like, imagine if Liverpool drop away and it's Man City or Arsenal, and I know Arsenal need to win it.
But what about if you're flirting with Champions
League? I've been in that position before where I thought,
Yeah.
No, listen, if it comes, like, say Tottenham.
I say let you beat us. I mean, it's not like we've got much of a choice at the moment.
If Tottenham were set to win the league and Arsenal were playing anybody,
you'd lose it, wouldn't you?
I'd want them to lose.
Yeah.
And I never want my team to lose, but we win the game that then makes them go and win the Tottenham.
Yeah.
To end the podcast,
the end of that.
To end the podcast with you saying you want Arsenal to win the league and you want Man United to win at the weekend, I think that's a fantastic way to end, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Robbie, thanks for coming.
No, thank you.
Mark, we're back on Monday.
Monday. Yeah. Talking a massive win for Manchester United against Liverpool. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all in a bit.
Bye.